What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a wild what-if scenario that mashes up the intense, supernatural horror of Aeth. EAR with the meticulous planning of a city builder. We all know the Point Man, this silent, super soldier protagonist from the first Encounter Assault Recon Team. His entire existence is defined by chaos, combat, and confronting the terrifying manifestations of Alma Wade. But what if, after all the gunfire and psychic torment, he was given a completely different mission? What if he was tasked with building a city from scratch for 500,000 people? What would a metropolis designed by the Point Man even look like? Let's find out! First, let's establish the ground rules. The Point Man, despite his silence, is not a mindless drone. He's a highly trained operative, disciplined, efficient, and ruthlessly pragmatic. He survives situations that would break anyone else, which tells us he's incredibly resourceful and has an unparalleled understanding of environmental threats and tactical advantages. So, when he gets the blueprints for a new city, he's not thinking about scenic parks and charming cafes. He's thinking about survival, efficiency, and control. He's building a fortress, not a utopia. The city, let's call it Aegis Point, wouldn't be built on a sprawling, open plain. No, the Point Man would choose a location with natural defensive barriers. Imagine a large, elevated plateau surrounded by steep cliffs on 3 sides, with the 4th side opening into a narrow, easily controlled valley. This is Zone Zero, the heart of the city. He understands that the greatest threats often come from where you least expect them. So, defensibility is paramount. Every entry and exit point would be a heavily fortified checkpoint, not just for monitoring traffic, but for rapid lockdown in case of any unforeseen event. The layout of Aegis Point would be a masterclass in tactical urbanism. Forget winding or organic streets. Think grids. Perfect, logical, interlocking grids. But not simple ones. The city would be designed in concentric rings, each one a self-sufficient district with its own residential areas, utility hubs, and supply depots. Why redundancy and containment? If one sector is compromised, say, by a sudden power failure or, a paranormal incursion, it can be isolated without crippling the entire city. The streets would be wide enough for large vehicle movement, but lined with strategically placed obstacles that could be raised in an emergency to create instant choke points and kill zones. Every intersection would offer clear lines of sight, eliminating blind spots. The Point Man has had enough surprises jumping out at him from dark corners for one lifetime. Now, let's talk about the architecture. Aesthetics would be the last thing on his mind. The buildings in Aegis Point would be brutalist, modular, and made of reinforced concrete. Think Stark. Imposing structures that prioritize function over form. Every apartment block would double as a defensible position. Windows would be smaller, reinforced, and easily barricaded. Rooftops wouldn't have gardens. They'd have designated watch posts and interlocking zip lines for rapid traversal across the city, allowing specialized units to bypass street-level chaos. Below ground, an extensive network of maintenance tunnels and subway lines would connect every part of the city. These wouldn't just be for transportation. They would be secure evacuation routes and supply conduits. A hidden subterranean highway mirroring the grid above. So, who are the 500,000 people living here? They're not just random citizens. The initial population would likely be comprised of former military personnel, engineers, scientists, and their families, people valued for their skills and discipline. Life in Aegis Point would be structured and orderly. Everyone would have a role. Public services would be ruthlessly efficient. Garbage is collected on the dot. Power grids have triple redundancy. The trains run not just on time, but with military precision. There would be a strong emphasis on community preparedness. Regular drills for various emergency scenarios, power outages, containment breaches, you name it, would be mandatory for all citizens. It's not about living in fear, but about being perpetually ready. The city's motto would probably be something like "Vigilance is victory." Entertainment and leisure would exist, but they'd be different. Sports would likely focus on disciplines that enhance physical and mental fitness, obstacle courses, marksmanship ranges, and strategic team games. Parks would be more like training grounds. With calisthenics equipment integrated into the landscape, there wouldn't be sprawling, chaotic shopping malls. Instead, commerce would be handled through centralized, highly organized distribution centers where goods are ordered and collected efficiently. It's a city built on the principle of minimizing vulnerabilities and large. Soft targets are a major vulnerability. The point man himself wouldn't be a mayor in a suit, cutting ribbons. He'd be the silent guardian of the city, operating from a central command hub deep within Zone Zero. This hub would be the city's brain, with real-time data feeds from every corner of Aegis Point. He'd oversee the city's automated defense systems, its drone patrols, and its elite rapid response force, a new generation of FEAR. Soldiers trained by him. He wouldn't govern through speeches and politics, but through silent, decisive action. When a problem arises, it's identified, isolated, and neutralized before most citizens even know there was a threat. But here's the interesting part. A city built in the image of the man forged in trauma would have a unique psychological landscape. There would be an underlying sense of tension, of being constantly watched. The efficiency would be incredible, but it might feel sterile, even oppressive to some. There's no room for spontaneity or chaos, the very things that can make a city feel alive. Every citizen would know, deep down, that their perfectly safe home was designed by someone who expects the absolute worst to happen at any second. And what about the one thing the point man could never truly escape? Ulma. A city built on logic, control, and order is the ultimate antithesis to her chaotic, emotional, and psychic nature. Would Aegis Point be the one place she couldn't touch? Or would its rigid structure and the faint, ever-present anxiety of its populace act as a massive psychic beacon, drawing her in? A city built to keep horrors out might inadvertently become the perfect vessel to contain them. Imagine Ulma's whispers echoing not through blood-stained hallways, but through the city's pristine communication systems. Her apparitions flickering not on old security monitors, but on the holographic advertisements in the city square. That is the ultimate test for the point man's creation. In the end, Aegis Point would be a monument to paranoia and preparedness. It would be the safest city in the world, and perhaps the most soulless. It is a city built by a man who has seen the abyss and decided the only way to live is to build a fortress on its edge. It's a fascinating thought experiment, taking a character defined by destruction and asking him to create. He'd succeed on his own terms. But the result would be a chilling reflection of his own haunted past. What do you guys think? Could you live in Aegis Point? What other video game characters would build fascinating cities? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this little thought experiment, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. I'll see you all in the next one.